Hello, hello. Hi, guys. I am going to look on my phone as I always do, just to make sure that we are actually streaming and you guys can hear me. If you are here, say hello. Remember that I'm using StreamYard, so if you don't grant StreamYard permission to see your name, I won't know who I'm talking to. So if you want to make a comment, please give StreamYard permission so that your name can actually pop up and it won't just show like Facebook user or YouTube user, because that's what it shows me if you guys don't grant them permission. Looks like we're starting to get some people on, and I see it streaming into Facebook, so we should be good. I have this streaming onto my Profit Factor private Facebook group. I have it going into my YouTube channel and then to my actual business Facebook account, the Chic CFO. So wherever you're watching, hello, hello. It looks like we've got about 5 of you guys on right now. And I do have one comment. Kelly. Hi, Kelly. How are you? All right. So I am like very, very excited for 2 days live. So I'm anxious to get started. We will give it a couple more minutes. But for those of you who are new here, because I know that we have been getting a lot of newbies in our Facebook group, which I'm so excited about. My name is Danae Wolf. I am a financial clarity coach and profit strategist, which means that I help you, the entrepreneur, understand the money side of things, okay? So this is definitely something that a lot of us struggle with in our business, okay? Trying to understand what's a profit and loss, what's cash flow, all of these big words, right? What's happening on my balance sheet. You guys want to come here so that I can demystify all of that for you, all right? My entire goal is to take things that are really complicated and really complex and simplify it, okay? And put it into language that you understand, because I really believe that if you understand the numbers in your business, then the sky's the limit when it comes to your success. Because if you guys don't know what's going in your bank account, you really don't know what's going on in your business. Because like I always say, your numbers tell the story of your business. So I want to make sure you're actually reading that book. All right. And I want to make sure it's not like a horror book either, right? We want to make sure it's telling a good story, it's telling the right story, and that you're able to get useful information from your numbers so you guys can make strategic decisions in your business. So that's my blurb. Let's get started for today. Today, we are talking all about setting goals for 2021. So I am specifically talking about hi Deetra, hi Allie, there's more people signing on to our live. So I am specifically talking about your financial goals for 2021, all right? Because I really want to make sure that you guys are focused, all right? If you don't really know what you're working toward, it's really difficult to make the right decisions, right? You need to know what the end goal is. Now, the first thing that I want to tell you is I want you to download my planner. So you're going to see when we get off this live, because I'm going to put the link to this live in the planner, just so that you guys can come back to this video and use it as a reference. But what I've created for you is a profit plan for 2021. You guys are going to be able to download this completely for free so that you can map out your entire plan of attack for your financial goals for 2021. And I really think that you guys are going to enjoy that planner. It again is completely free. I will link it in the description below, and you'll be able to get access to it. And you're going to want to use it in conjunction with this video so that you can really go through these exercises so that we can hit a set goal for what you want to do financially in 2021. All right, so let's get started. The very first thing is you can't really know where you're going if you don't know where you've been, right? So the very first thing that we're going to do when we sit down to plan out our 2021 financial goals is we're going to review 2020. All right. Now, I know none of us want to hear 2020 again, right? Like we want to leave it in the past where it belongs, but I need you guys to really go in and examine it because it's so incredibly important in this process. Because one of the main takeaways I want you guys to have from today is setting financial goals is a process, okay? This isn't just something where you go, oh, I want to make $1 million this year. That we don't just like pull a number out of thin air. All right. There's an actual process that we go through. There's a formula we follow to make sure that we're setting smart goals for 2021. So when you're looking at 2020, right, and you're reviewing the year, and if you don't quite know how to review 2020, definitely go take a look at the training we did last week, because we talked about how to close your books and review 2020. But when you're looking at 2020, ask yourself, what were your big accomplishments last year? I know for some of you, you're like, last year was a dumpster fire. There's nothing good to see. I'm asking you to choose to see the good. All right. I know that it is really easy to get caught up in how bad 2020 was. Okay. I think we can all agree that 2020, not a shining moment, right? But if we really search, we can see the good. And I know you guys had good moments and things to be proud of. For me, I always have this, it's tough for me with 2020 because I know how horrible it was. And, people lost their livelihoods and people lost their lives and loved ones. And there was a lot of bad. But for me, it's tough because I had my daughter. Right. So for 2020, I see all the tragedy and, it gets me choked up. But, I had my daughter. So for 2020, while I realized it was awful, it did, it brought such a gift to my family. So I challenge you guys. Oh, that got me a little emotional talking about the baby. I challenge you guys, just search for the good. OK, so we're going to look and say, what did we do really well in 2020? Then, because life's all about balance, right? Own your failures, okay? Take a magnifying glass to 2020 and tell me, what did you do wrong, okay? Be honest. Let's review everything and say, where did we go right and we really should have went left, all right? Where were those mistakes and how could you have navigated things better, all right? And then, of course, you're actually going to look at the numbers, right? We're going to review the finances for 2020. How much revenue did you make? What were your expenses? What was your profit? What did you actually make, right? How much money did you pay yourself? And again, last week's video will really help you guys, work through that process. So once you review 2020, right, you've outlined, the good, the bad, the ugly, you've broken down the financials, right? You understand fully what the numbers were for 2020. We're now going to start looking at the future. And when I think about goals, I break them down into three main things. I look at the money we want to make, the money we need to make, and I look at the impact we want to have on the world. And I'm going to break each of those down for you. So the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, how much money do you want to make? Okay, so I am literally talking, guys, this is our pie in the sky. This is our dream life. We are thinking about, what kind of house do you want? What kind of car do you want? What kinds of vacations do you want to be able to go on? Okay, this is your dream life, and I really want you guys to dream big. All right, remember, this isn't our needs list. This is our wants list. So think about all of the things. Okay, what do you want to attain this dream lifestyle? And it should be so big, right? This goal of the money you want, it should be so big that it scares the shit out of you. Like, that's what I want you guys to do. Be a dreamer, okay? Take 20 minutes and just do a brain dump. What does your ideal life look like? And what does it cost? If you know that you have a dream car you want to drive, get online and check out the numbers. It'll take you 5 minutes. You can see, what would your monthly payment be, right? So start getting an idea. I want you to really, figure out what this dream life is that you want and put a price tag on it. I want you to actually know how much it costs. And, I do this with my clients in onboarding. And a lot of times when we go through the exercise, I actually find that their dream life, this life that they think is so unattainable, when we actually add it all up, right? Because we put a price tag on it, that's the last step. A lot of times they go, that's not actually as crazy as I thought it was. So it's just a really good exercise to go through and, make sure that, you guys actually know this dream life that's in your head. How much does it cost? Just want to go through some of the comments here saying hi, thank you. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Jen. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Keisha. Hi, Shay. All right. So the next thing that I want you guys to do is I want you to think about how much money do you actually need? Okay, so need is different than want, right? So think about your current situation. How much are your bills? Okay. How much is your mortgage? How much is your utilities? What are your current car payments? Do you have student loans? Do you have tuition that you pay for your kids? You need to know how much you need for your actual current life. All right. The next thing I want you to do, and please do not skip this step. All right. This is a really, really important piece that I think is often not discussed as much as it should be. But if you really study a lot of the very successful people, and whether we're talking about being successful in regards to dollars in your bank account or being successful in regards to the joy in your heart, okay, this is a common denominator, all right? They are very clear on the type of impact that they want to have on the world. So what do I mean when I say impact? I want you to sit and think, okay, is there a certain cause or charity that you are extremely passionate about, right? And I want you to think about that and think, okay, what type of impact do I want to have there? So for me, I really didn't figure out what I was extremely passionate about or the cause that was really on my heart until I became a mom. When I had Bryce, my oldest, that was the first time that I think I ever really understood, any type of privilege that I had in my life. I sat there with my newborn baby and, being on this, paid maternity leave, I had a job at the time, and, being able to be home with him and be home for 3 months, and then just reading, stories of other mothers who didn't get that. They didn't have that opportunity. And I realized I kind of lived in this little bubble in the world, and I really felt this guilt of this privilege that I was really able to savor those moments with my newborn. And if you guys follow me, you know my story. I went on to quit my job so that I could be with my kids and have, #balance and all of that. And in doing that, I really realized one of the ways that I want to have impact is helping mothers and children. So when I set money goals, I make sure that I'm able to allocate to the programs that I've found locally that specifically help underprivileged mothers and children, right? So whether we're helping them put together a birthday celebration or doing something for Christmas or helping them stay home for a paid maternity leave, right? That is the cause that is near and dear to me. You guys have to have this, okay? This can't just be all about, hey, we want to live in $1 million house, right? And we're focused on those goals. Or, hey, we really want to pay down, our student loan debt. All of that matters, yes, but please don't skip this critical step, all right? And there is a really great book called The Go-Giver that talks a lot more about, giving and how it's just going to have an impact on your life. Okay, so don't skip this. So we're looking at these 3 things, right? So we're going to take how much money does it take to support our dream life? How much money do we need to have the impact that we want to have on the world? And then how much money do we actually need, right? So it's those 3 numbers. We've got want, we've got need, and we've got impact. And I want you to look at those and then compare it to the type of money you made in 2020, right? So let's say that maybe in 2020, you made $100,000. And let's say you look at your dream life and the impact you want to have. And let's say, you realize you have to make $150,000 to do everything that you want. As we go through and set our plan, right, which we're going to get into, you can start saying, okay, maybe I can't quite set a goal as a number of 150. Maybe I'm going to end up at 125, right? So you're going to look at these three numbers, right? The need number, the want number, the impact number, and you really have to find a happy mix of it, right? Hey, if you're able to go balls to the wall and actually set that goal of that dream life and that impact number, more power to you. I hope that you run these numbers and discover that you can do that. But if you can't, just set up something realistic, because you also don't want goals to be something that make you feel like a failure, right? We want to have realistic, smart goals, but we don't want them to be so easy that you're like, I already know I'm going to do this. You should feel like, I might not be able to do this, right? It should scare the shit out of you, like I said. So once we've got that, we're going to go to, I'm sure you guys have heard this. A goal without a plan is simply a wish. All right. And we're not here to make wishes. I'm not a fairy godmother. I wish I was, but the world doesn't work that way. So we need an actual plan. And from what I know about you guys, okay, from what I know from my fellow entrepreneurs, we love systems. We love processes, right? They make our life easier. We just want a guidebook to everything. Give us a good checklist and we'll get it all done. This is how it works with goals, right? There is a checklist. There is a process that we are able to follow. So the very first thing, all right, that I want you guys to do. So you've already gone through, you've calculated what you're going to set your goal as. You've got your want, your need, your impact. You use that information to come up with an actual number for your financial goal for 2021. We're now going to design a plan to achieve it. The first thing I want you to do is to determine your recurring operational expenses. So guys, this is all of the things that you pay for every single month, such as rent, such as your software subscriptions, right? If you guys are using Kajabi or Launch 27 or ZenMaid, right? What are those recurring costs that come hell or high water, you have got to pay each and every month, all right? So I want you guys to get all of that added up. The next thing that I want you to do is to determine your cost of goods sold and your gross profit for each and every service or product that you sell in your business. So what do I mean by this? Let's say you sell a widget, all right? You sell a widget, you're a product-based business, and let's say that your widgets cost you $5 to deliver to your clients, right? That's all in. Create them, box them, ship them, get them to your client. Costs you $5, right? And then let's say you sell them to your clients for $15. You take the sales price, you minus the cost of goods sold. You now know that you've got a gross profit of $10, okay? So now we've calculated every time we sell a service or we sell a product, right? Whatever your business model is, this is the gross profit that you make. It's really important that you guys know exactly, what this is. So if you are not in touch with your numbers, please get there, right? Now, if you guys are in touch with your numbers, you're going to be like, I already know this. I have it. It's sitting in a spreadsheet somewhere. It's in my Google Drive. I can pull it. But if you're not in touch with your numbers, go through this process, figure out all of this, and then you'll be able to jump back in on this goal planning strategy here. So again, remember, we've determined our recurring operational expenses, and then we've determined our cost of goods sold for everything that we sell in our business so that we can get the gross profit, so we know how much money we make every time we sell a service or a product. In step 3, you're going to deduct your operational expenses from your gross profits that you've calculated in step 2. So here's how this works, all right? You know that you sell, in our example was widgets, right? You know that you sell them for $15, it costs you $5, you make $10, right, off of each one. So let's say you make a projection that you're going to sell, 50, 60, 70, whatever it is, right? And you can run through different scenarios by asking yourself, what is realistic? Well, maybe you sold 200 widgets last year, but you think, you could sell 300 widgets this year, right? So you want to figure out, do the math and say, how many services or products do I think I can actually sell? And then it's just a simple equation of multiplying it by that gross profit, right? So if I know that I can actually make, $3,000 in gross profit off of the products that I sell or the services that I sell, I'm then going to deduct my recurring operational expenses, right? Which was what you guys calculated in step 1. And remember, guys, I've got this plan here for you that's going to help you and walk you through, calculating all of these numbers and get it all laid out for you. It'll make your life easier. You can follow it as a guide. But again, you're going to make sure that you've got the recurring expenses, you've calculated your gross profits, and then you start running projections. What happens if I execute 500 services this year versus executing 1,000 services this year, right? So play around with these numbers and don't just say, hey, I did 200 services in 2020. I'm going to do 1,000,000 in 2021. If you are, please DM me and tell me how. But for most of us, we're probably not going to see that type of growth, but be realistic. Be realistic with this number is what I'm saying. And if you are in a situation where you're like, okay, I need to do, 20% more than what I did last year. I need to sell 20% more. How are you going to do that, right? What's your marketing plan? What's your plan of attack in order to actually achieve that? All right. So once you've gone through and you've determined, okay, I'm going to do, 50 sales by the time I pay my cost of goods sold and my recurring expenses, I'm left with X. Let's say you're left with, I don't know, $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is, whatever your numbers show. Step 4 is that there's 2 certainties in life, death and taxes. I want you to take that net number, right, that you just determined by, deducting the cost of goods sold, the recurring monthly expenses. I want you to take that number and I want you to deduct 30%. We're deducting 30% for taxes. I cannot tell you how many times I speak to people about their financial goals and they say, well, yeah, I hit my goal, but I forgot about taxes. We can't forget about taxes because the IRS isn't going to forget that you owe the taxes. So we cannot skip this step. So when you think, oh, I need to make, $5,000, let's say that was your number. I personally need to make $5,000 this month. If your profit of your business was $5,000, you did not hit your goal because you need to be able to pay taxes and then have that $5,000 in your pocket. All right. So make sure that, we don't actually skip this step. So we're going to set aside 30% for taxes. And then step 5, what's left, right? It's your pay. This is how much money you are actually bringing home. Now, here's a question I get asked a lot. Do I have to pay tax on that again, right? So there's a lot of people who say, okay, I took my profit, I set aside 30% for taxes, there was $3,000 left over, I paid myself $3,000. Do I need to pay another 30% in tax on that? No, you do not. The answer is no. We're going to set aside 30% for your profit one time. And then what's left is your pay. And you can go ahead and transfer it into your personal checking account. So now you've run through that number, right? And you see what your actual pay is. Are you happy? All right. Is it in line with the goal that you just set? Well, if it's not, here's what you have to do. You have to go back to step 2, where we calculated what our cost of goods sold were and what our gross profit is for each and every item or service that we sell. And we're going to make projections by switching it up and saying, okay, this was based on me doing 50 services a month. Maybe try to take it up to 60. Try to take it up to 75, right? So you're going to walk through this analysis and determine at where's your sweet spot? How many services do you need to execute in order to hit this goal? Because a lot of times what happens when, we're setting goals, first of all, we have no idea why that's our goal. I speak to so many people who are just like, I want to have $1 million cleaning company. Okay, why? Why? Tell me why you want to have $1 million cleaning company. I don't know. I just thought that was a milestone. All right, well, let's set some SMART goals here and actually break it down. And then we get into, what kind of impact do they want to have on the world? How much money do they want for their dream life? How much money do they need for their current life? We come up with their actual number, right? Their actual goal. And then we run through the scenario I just told you, where you determine your operational costs and you determine your cost of goods, and you run through that and see, well, in order to make the money you want, you only need to do $500,000 in sales, right? So you have to figure out what these actual numbers are and then say, okay, is it realistic, that I can sell 100 cleanings a week, right? Or, 200 widgets a week, depending on, I know there's a lot of cleaning business owners here, so that's why I keep referencing, cleaning companies, but whatever it is that you sell in your business, how many do you have to turn in order to hit this goal? And then ask yourself, is this realistic? Can we actually do that? And this is how you turn your goal into an actual plan. All right. So we've gone from, taking an approach of just, I want a $1 million cleaning company. Well, no, we've broken it down and we've actually walked through this exercise to determine how much money you actually want to make. Maybe you need to just make $100,000 a year to do what you want to do. Maybe you have to make $250,000 a year. Then you've gone in and actually looked at the ins and outs of your business, the nitty gritty of your numbers. And now I need to execute 200 cleanings a week, right? And now you have to determine how you're going to hit that sales goal. Because what we've done is we've taken that high level financial goal and we've broken down to a very micro sales goal. So now you know what it translates into your business, into exactly how many widgets, cleaning services, whatever it is that you do to make money, how many you have to do each week, each month, each quarter in your business. And then you can actually go about and determine a plan to actually hit these sales goals. So now we're not coming from a place of, I need to make $200,000 a year, that's my goal. No, my friend, we've gotten much more micro and we know, hey, we need to execute 30 cleanings a week. Well, maybe you only have capacity to execute 20 cleanings a week. So what's your actual first goal? You got to hire another cleaner. Because if you know that you need to execute 30 cleanings a week, which you will know if you follow this process that I've outlined, if you know you need to execute 30 cleanings a week and you look at your staff and you only have capacity to issue 20, you don't have a shot in hell at hitting your goal. And at the end of the year, when you don't hit your goal, you're going to think you're a failure when in reality, you never set yourself up to win. That's why this is so important, okay? That's why it's so important. You need to get micro with this. You need to actually know what you're working toward so that you can have a plan. And the last step, guys, you got to get off your ass and you have to actually do it. All right. I say this a lot and I forget where I actually heard it from, but this is not an original quote from me. But clarity comes from action. Okay. Clarity does not come from masterminding and thinking and a meeting of the minds and all these things. Do I think that has a ton of value? 1000%. But the actual clarity comes from action. You've got to get in there and actually do it. When professional athletes are practicing, they have their meetings, yes, and they talk strategy. But then what do? They get on the field because the clarity comes from action. So you actually have to do this stuff, okay? I think a lot of times, because I've talked to enough of you guys in this group, a lot of times I hear, I have spreadsheets upon spreadsheets and I have spreadsheets for my spreadsheets. I love a good spreadsheet. I want you guys to have spreadsheets. I think that's great. But don't miss the implementation, all right? Don't miss that action part because your clarity is going to come from action. You can talk all day long about what your process and strategy is to hit the number of cleanings that you need to do a week. But unless you get out there and actually try to do it, right? That's the only way you're going to be able to troubleshoot. You could say, hey, Craigslist is how I'm going to recruit. But until you get that ad on Craigslist and actually see if it works for you, you won't actually know. All right. So I hope that this was helpful. I'm going to put the planner, okay, it's the 2021 profit planner. I'm going to put it in the comments. I just want to hop off this video. I'll go ahead and download it and put the link in there. This way, when you guys download the resource, you will have a link to this video and you will have everything that you guys need. I hope that you enjoyed this. And before we sign off, I'm just going to see if I happen to have any questions. Let's see. So, hey, Marlene. Heather says, what's the book? I don't know. I don't think maybe I did reference a book. I don't know, Heather. You'll have to PM me. I don't remember referencing a book. Maybe I read a lot of books. Maybe I did reference a book. I don't remember. Let's see. Monthly and quarterly goals are so important. Yes. And then somebody said this is so helpful. Oh, I'm so glad. I can't see who said it though. Oh, Deetra. Good. I'm so happy that this was helpful. And then people just saying thankful. Thank you. Okay, great. All right. So we don't have any answer or any questions. I just wanted to pop in there real quick to see so that I could get your questions answered. But sounds like you guys enjoyed this and it was helpful. I will be posting the free resource for you. Please download it and fill it out. And I want you to let us know if you've actually completed this exercise, okay? Did you set your financial goals for 2021? And let us know if you've got sticker shock, okay? When you go in and you actually say, all right, this is how much money I want to make. This is how much money I need to make. And this is the impact I want to have in the world. And you come up with that number. Are you having like a total, oh my God, I can't do that moment? Or are you like, you know what? I can crush that. I'm going to up the ante because I think I can do more. I'm just curious. So let us know, did you do this? Did you set your goals? And do you have sticker shock or are you feeling really good and ready to tackle it? Go giver. Yes, you're right. You're right. Deetra, thank you. I did mention a book. Guys, I literally read all the time. I probably read at least one book a week. So yes, Go Giver, all about giving, particularly for business owners, because I know that everybody in this group is an entrepreneur. But that was me, Heather, just talking about, I think that if we are really trying to make sure that we're not just meeting our own needs, right, and our own wants, but being focused on what type of impact can we have on the world, right? That's just going to be a game changer for you. It's one of the main reasons that I wanted to do my course, Profit Perfect, because I can only work with so many one-on-one clients, right? It's not realistic that I'm going to have hundreds of clients. And that really limits the kind of impact that I can have. But doing my course really allows me to be able to educate many entrepreneurs as opposed to just one-on-one. I can educate many entrepreneurs on financial literacy. And then this Facebook group also gives me that reach. And that's something that has been really important to me in the last couple of years, just making sure I can have, the kind of impact that I want to have. How do I determine my gross profit if I provide a service? Great question. This is from Alexandra. So when you are providing a service, you might not have a cost of goods sold. It all depends on your model. So if you are outsourcing to contractors, right? So my cleaning companies, I know there's lots of you in this group. You guys are a service, but you do have a cost of goods sold because you have to purchase cleaning products and you have to pay your team, right? You have to pay the actual cleaners to get out there. So if you are maybe a coach, right? Or you're maybe a consultant, right? You don't have a cost of goods sold if you're not hiring anyone to kind of help you with these services. In which case, if it's just you, right, you don't outsource to anyone, no one helps you provide the services to your clients, then you would just account for yourself, right? So your time in that situation, right? So I don't know how micro you've gotten with your business, Alexandra, but you would want to take a look and say, if I sign a customer, it's a $500 package. Obviously, I don't know anything about your business. I'm just making up numbers here. But let's say, you charge them $500 and you know that it takes you 3 hours to service that service offering, right? I would just go through and say, what do I want to make sure I get compensated for those 3 hours, right? And maybe you're like, well, I want the whole thing, right? I want to take the whole thing. If you don't have any other recurring expenses, that's fine. But even as a service provider, you've got to have some type of recurring expenses. So even if it's just your G Suite, right, that you pay for every month, whatever your point of sale system is, maybe you have merchant fees. There's definitely going to be some type of cost that you have associated. But for a lot of coaches, consultants, the cost is just you. So you really could just say, I'm going to execute 100 services this month, and the only thing I need to deduct are my recurring expenses, right? And you don't have to worry about that cost of goods sold. So that was a very good question. Very good question, Alex. All right. So it looks like I've cleared the question queue. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this afternoon. And I will be posting this free resource for you in the description shortly. Oh, and Alex says it's all new, meal planning, coaching. Perfect. Good. Well, I'm glad it's new. We love new entrepreneurs around here. So best of luck with that. I will see you guys next week.